Do you think now would be a time when Eknath Shinde will go to the Deputy Speaker asking for a floor test?
He doesn't need to go to the Deputy Speaker asking for a floor test. I do anticipate that as and when the numbers are in place, there will first be a parading in the Raj Bhavan, and there will possibly the game ultimately will move to the assembly. There will be an assembly session, and it is also a possibility that even if the numbers are not there with Uddhav Thackeray, he might still insist on a floor test. There will be all those speeches. If people may take inspiration from what happened to Atal Bihari Vajpayee in the 13-day government, or Mr. Deve Gowda. So there is a political game in the longer term also to be fought. These are various things that can happen on the political side. On the legal side, things can go wrong only if either of the referees starts playing in the game himself. That is, either the governor says, starts counting heads and dismisses the government or something of that kind, or if the deputy speaker starts a process of disqualification and does that selectively. I heard you asking some of the other panelists why only 12. This is a phrase of evolving jurisprudence on the 10th schedule. I remember a long time ago when there was a similar crisis in Uttar Pradesh. Some MLAs came over at one point of time, another set of MLAs came at another point of time, and the then speaker, Mr. Kesrinath Tripathi, who was a senior advocate himself, evolved a theory of a continuing split, that a split doesn't have to take place at once. Here also, whether there is a merger with another party or whether only some people have split from the legislative party, though 50 odd people may have gone to Guwahati, at the floor test, if those 50 do not vote for the Shinde Sena and stick with the Shiv Sena, then there will be different consequences.
You know, Sanjay Hegde, I want to also ask you, as I bring in Sanjay Jha and Rajdeep Sardesai. Rajdeep, there has been instances in the past where the governor of his own volition has called for a floor test. It happened in Madhya Pradesh, where Kamal Nath and that entire Jyotir Aditya Scindia episode, where Kamal Nath asked for the dissolution of the house, but the governor decided to hold a floor test on his own volition.
It's happened in Madhya Pradesh. It happened also more recently in Karnataka. So yes, it's very settled principle now that you have to prove your majority on the floor of the house. The role of the arbitrariness that existed sometimes, particularly with speakers, is now considerably reduced because of court judgments, and therefore eventually if Uddhav Thackeray doesn't have the majority, he will have to resign on the floor of the house and perhaps give an emotional speech, one final speech on the floor of the house. Look, I come back to it. Why is it now that Sharad Pawar is reiterating floor of the house? Because they want the MLAs to come back from Guwahati to Mumbai. It is one thing to be in Guwahati, it is another thing to be in Mumbai. However, I think that they have misread the situation, because the sense one is getting is the number of these MLAs have already struck their deal with the BJP. Eknath Shinde has already revealed it. Without naming the BJP, he has clearly said that the BJP is very much involved in this operation, is calling it historic. You see, it's very interesting that unlike November 2019, where the BJP played its cards too early, this time the BJP wants to play the ace only in the final stretch. Devendra Fadnavis, I am told, has been cautioned, don't make your move till all the pieces are fitted. Now that they've touched 37, I think you will see in the next 24 hours, Eknath Shinde asking the governor, possibly with Devendra Fadnavis as well, to please call for to suggest that the Uddhav Thackeray government has lost its majority and they are ready for a floor test. So I think that 37 number was what they were waiting for. Now that they've got it, they will move for the kill. So I expect them to move for the kill in the next 24 to 48 hours and maybe a floor test sometime next week.